Let's take a look at itemization real quick. And I'm just
Okay.
gonna quickly explain like the thinking process you should have when it comes to itemization, generally speaking. So usually when you play a champion, you have different types of first items that you can go for. For some champions, you only really have one that you can go for. For example, I'm currently playing Aurora, like I'm learning the champ, and on that champion, you
Mhm.
basically go Storm Surge every game, first item, right? Like it's just
Right.
the best item for her. So on Qiyana, you kind of have two options, right? You can either go for Profane or you can go for Voltaic. Both are fine. The only thing though is that you actually deal different types of damage with both items because Voltaic deals a bit more damage, but Profane has better wave clear, right? So the items are a little bit different, and ideally, what I really like to do when I climb or when I try to get a lot of games in and improve with the game and win a lot in like a very specific time period in a way, I really like to not think about items at all in a way. This might sound weird in the first place, but give me a moment, so I'm gonna explain why. So the way
Okay.
I want you to think about it is that you kind of have 100% focus, right, to your availability when it comes to what you think about, right? You have like the game, laning, trading, team fighting, macro, whatever. Like there's so many different skills in League that you have. And the way I approach it, and I do this for myself, like and I'm a Grandmaster level player and I still do this because it helps me to like focus on the game only. So what I do is I go for the same item first every single game. Like I don't change it up.
Okay.
And I go for the same item third every single game. And the reason you want to do that is because you need to itemize around Cyrilda's Grudge as an AD assassin. The reason why
Okay.
that's so important is because people, they get armor throughout the game, even if they don't build a single armor item. So if you look at,
Right.
I don't know, a Jinx or any other ADC or any other squishy champion, they will still end up having like 60 armor or 70 armor, even without building a single armor item. So that's why you need Cyrilda's Grudge third. It's like a core item. Like it's not a situational item in a way. So that's like the first trap that people fall into, that they don't build Cyrilda's Grudge third every game. So the way I want you to structure your items is you want to have, and I think it's easier to just show it in the client, you want to have the items set up in a way where you play the same first item every game and the same third item every game. So let's
Okay.
say you would start playing Voltaic, right? You would go for Voltaic every game. You would go for the same boots every game, right? So you would go for this every game because it changes the amount of damage you deal. So everything that changes your damage, you kind of want to have the same every game,
The
right?
same. That makes sense.
Because
Yeah.
you want to get used to the limits, you want to get used to how much damage that specific build deals, right? And that will help you a lot with like knowing your limits a lot better and getting better at the champ quickly. Because if you change up your first item permanently, you deal different damage amounts, and that can screw up an all-in or something because you don't exactly
Right.
know how much damage you deal. So that's why I usually recommend if you go profane, start with Lucidities because you want to go for ability haste centered build. If you start Voltaic, you kind of want as much damage as possible. So that's where you go like Immortal Path. So you would go the Omni builds.
Yep.
So it kind of depends on what you like more. I personally prefer Profane. Like I play Profane every game. I just like the item. I think it's extremely useful for tempo and for pushing waves and stuff like that. If you are someone that prefers Voltaic, you can go for it. Like nothing is holding you
Okay.
back from that. It's a personal question, right? So the way you want to itemize is you go for the first item every game, which is Voltaic, and then you can decide for the second item, and that is your situational slot. So you
Okay.
have either Profane, you have Edge of Night, or you have Serpents if you go Voltaic. If you would go for Profane first item, let's do a quick thought experiment here. You would be going for Umbral, right? And then it would look like this. You would have Profane as a first item, then these items second. So this is your default, and these are the situational items you can go for. And then you would go for Super Duscotch third. And as a last item, you kind of have a couple of different options. And these are your fourth plus items. So this is like fourth and fifth, so the last two items that you are building. And the way I want you to view this is if you go Voltaic, you need Endless Hunger because you don't have much ability haste. And Endless Hunger makes up for that. And if you have Profane, Umbral, and Grudge, you kind of already have enough haste. And that's when you can itemize very defensively, where you can go like Death Stance and GA or something, right?
Okay.
So that's kind of how the build changes. So what do you prefer more from like playing the games? Do you prefer Voltaic or
I
do you
don't
prefer like Profane?
I don't really know. I mean, the past, so pretty much all my games in Emerald have been Voltaic, but I got placed, well, because this is I couldn't get into my old account. It was like 2 years ago, so my buddy gave me this like an extra one that he had. It was like level 30.
Mhm.
So I got, so like from bronze 4 all the way to like platinum 1, I was doing Profane. And I do really like Profane, but I was just trying to build. I heard a lot of people saying that Voltaic was really good, so I don't know if I really had like a reason. I mean, I like both of them. They both have great advantages. I guess I don't really have a preference.
Okay, yeah, in that case, just make a decision. Like, it doesn't really matter which
Okay.
one you make, just make one decision and then stick to it. I think for learning the game, Profane is better.
Okay.
Since it
Yeah.
allows you to move on the map, push the wave quickly, like decide for a side that you want to impact. And also, like, Voltaic adds another layer of difficulty, since you need to time your trades with the energized attack, which can actually be hard at times because you want to auto attack the wave to push it, and then you might not have the passive up, right? So that's kind of like another layer of difficulty. So for that purpose, I would probably recommend Profane, honestly. And in that case, you would itemize like this, right? You would not go for these boots, you would go for this. Obviously, these two boots are like situational, Mercs and Tabis. And then you would have Umbral as a default. And the way you want to play this build, just as a heads up, is you really want to play for your grass queue. So you want to play grass into grass into grass, and every single time you get out of your stealth, you can use an auto attack, which deals true damage because you have Umbral. That's kind of how the
Okay.
build works, like on a fundamental
Yeah.
level.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. I think I'll stick. I'll probably switch back to profane because I did like the other. I feel like you have more freedom, right, with items.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, this just feels really good because you can kind of spam grass, and that allows you to play fights a lot safer. I just think. So I think Voltaic is objectively better if you play it really well at the high level. Like, it's currently a really strong item, but at the same time, it's a lot harder to use, and there is actually skill expression to it. And it's like it can be really hard to use, right? That's kind of like
Right.
the downside to it. Yeah,
No,
awesome.
that makes sense.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you would, and after Grudge, you would go for Death Dance and NGA. That's kind of the build. Or you can also go for more instead of Death Dance. But you want to go GA last every game.
Okay. Like I did not know that actually.
Mhm.
That's good. That's good to know.
Yeah, it's really OP. It's really annoying. Like, if you
Okay, I
have to,
got you. I got you.
if you wanna like kill a Qiyana twice that is perma grass, it's really disturbing. It's like dealing with that is
True.
just annoying.